All right, let's pivot to Scottie Pippen, who is back on his bullshit. Scottie Pippen, I don't know what he was doing. It was an IG post or whatever it be. Scottie Pippen weighed in on something. Has something to do with LeBron James and his stats, and he's the stat king and this and that, and comparing Jordan to LeBron, and obviously Pippen, 6-time champion, Hall of Famer, one of the, if not the greatest wing defender in the history of basketball. Had a lot to say about LeBron, but even more to say about Michael Jordan. Here's what to say real quick. I'll play the audio and then we'll weigh in from there.
LeBron will be the greatest statistical guy to ever play the game of basketball. And there's no comparison to him. None. So, does that make him the greatest player to ever play the game? I'll leave that out for debating because I don't believe that there's a great player because our game is a team game and one player can't do it. Like, I seen Michael Jordan play before I came to play with the Bulls. You guys seen him play. He's a horrible player. He was horrible to play with. He was all one-on-one. He's shooting bad shots. And all of a sudden, we become a team and we start winning. Everybody forgot who he was.
Okay, a lot to unpack there. Let me start here real quick with Pippen. And I might shock some of you guys when I say what I'm going to say here. He's not wrong when he's talking about the team aspect of stuff in terms of pre-Pippen and Grant, and then, of course, Robin late in the years, Jordan's first couple years in the league when he had no one. He's not wrong that once they had a team concept, which Phil Jackson forced, actually, that he got better. He's not wrong about that. He's also not wrong about LeBron in terms of stats. The greatest statistician, stat maker, we're going to call it, in history of basketball. He's rated all-time leading scorer. He's top 5 in assists and moving up. LeBron's going to have every, if not every record, close to every record imaginable in the league when it's all said and done. Unless he retires, of course, but I don't see that happening. But here's where Pippen always gets it wrong, because every couple of years, this happens with Pippen. He weighs in on the LeBron Jordan argument. This is now, 10, 12 years running now? I've covered this on this podcast many times over in the 12 years of this podcast. Like, everything else he does, he embellishes it for shock value. Just like he did in his book recently. I think 2 years ago, his book came out. Same thing. He embellishes it. And not only that, he takes both sides of the argument, depending on how he feels. Depends on how he wakes up. I remember back in 2011, before LeBron even got his first ring, and he was on First Take, or I think he was calling on some show, I don't know what it would be. He had said that LeBron was the best player of all time, or better than Jordan. And this is before LeBron got his first ring. And then a couple years later, he goes back to the Jordan argument. Then goes back to LeBron in 2015. And then remember, in recent years, it's been Jordan again. But now, since the Last Dance came out 3 years ago during COVID, he's now anti-Jordan again. Folks, Scottie Pippen is a bitter person. He's a bitter person. Okay? And look, there's a lot of reasons why that is. And a lot of players who have an issue with Jordan, personally. And I get that. But you got to separate the two, of course. First off, his ex-wife, Larsa, which has been a publicly known divorce for a couple of years now, Larsa and Scottie Pippen divorce. She's now dating Michael Jordan's son, Marcus. So no offense, I would feel some type of way too, to some degree. So Pippen, in some ways, has kind of a right to be resentful. And I get it. And I will say one thing too also about Pippen. His argument, whether you agree or disagree, and I know most disagree with what he's saying, the reason it has, quote unquote, some weight is because, unlike anybody else giving an opinion about things, he actually went to war with Jordan. He actually won those titles with Jordan. And the thing is, too, also with Pippen, and this is what frustrates me, too, with him, is that now people, as a result, and this is because of the black and white league we have now, not just the color, but in terms of those people's perception of things, and then is yes or no, either or. They now are going to diminish Pippen now because they knock in their guy, Jordan. And we got to try to avoid that too, because I don't especially want to diminish Pippen, you know. I don't want to diminish Pippen to elevate Jordan, because there is some truth to the fact that he doesn't get enough credit for the work he did with those Bulls teams. Yes, he was definitely the second best player, but here's what's fact about that too. Jordan did not win without Pippen. End discussion. Jordan did not win without Scottie. And how he may feel about the argument that Jordan needed Scottie, the fact of the matter is, the numbers are out there. When Jordan had Pippen, they won 6 titles. How many titles did Jordan win without Pippen? None. And for the record, I'm Jordan GOAT. I'm the Jordan number 1 all time argument. But I'm not going to do that and diminish Scottie Pippen. If you watch those series against the Lakers in the first finals, the series against the Blazers in the second finals, the series against the Suns in the third finals, the series against the Jazz in the last 2 finals, Pippen's defense tilted those series. Ask Magic Johnson in the first finals. They put Pippen and Magic Johnson and slowed him down. Yes, Jordan gets all the credit because it's Jordan and he, averaged 3 points a game and all this stuff, and well deserved. I mean, Finals MVP, we get all that, and it makes sense. And I'm not even knocking that. But Scottie Pippen and the things that he brought to the table added just as much effectiveness to the Bulls' 6 titles as what Jordan did as well. Without Pippen, Jordan's winning any titles? Probably not. Maybe he gets a title or 2. Who knows? Depending on who he gets as a sidekick. But the fact of the matter is this, though. Scottie Pippen was absolutely incredible. Not so much numbers-wise. You can't say numbers, but defensively. Slowing down Magic Johnson in the first finals. Slowing down Kevin Johnson in the third finals. Slowing down Clyde Drexler in moments as well, too, in the second finals. Slowing down John Stockton in the 2 Jazz finals. So, yes, is Pippen nuts in the head? Absolutely. Both of them right here. He's nuts. But I am not going to diminish his impact on the team. And I think a lot of what Pippen feels about that is the fact that Jordan gets all the credit, which he deserves the credit, most of the credit for it because it's Jordan, of course, but he gets none. And Pippen was just another role player. Pippen was not just another role player. This is arguably the greatest 1-2 tandem history of basketball. People say Shaq and Kobe. People say, Magic and Worthy, Wade and LeBron, whatever. Steph and Clay, whatever. I would argue Pippen and Jordan is the most dominant, because at least in that situation, there was a clear-cut 1 and 2. And what those guys brought to the table, they did well to excellence, especially on both sides of the ball, especially on defense. So, all I'm saying is, let's try to do this with not, you can say Pippen is nuts with what he said, but also not diminish him either in the process. That's all I'm trying to say here.